Let's put a tree on a different block and let's see how to do that. 121 Minecraft modding course is available down below with over 11 hours of content covering everything from the basics all the way to block entities and custom mobs. Alright, my friends, we're back and tell you once more, and in this tutorial we're going to be adding, we're going to be making our custom tree be able to grow on a different block. Now this is quite interesting, and as you can see by the length of the tutorial, it's not actually that complicated. However, it does include two different sort of things that we have to do. And the first one is in the block custom package, we actually have to make a new Java class called the mod sapling block, because in this case, we need to make a custom sapling block, and I'll show you why in a second. I'm going to extend this from the normal sapling block class. I'm going to hover over this, create constructor matching super, and here once again, the names here annoy you, click on it, press Shift F6, and we can change the names over here. There we go. And the idea here is that in the sapling block itself, well, most of the stuff we actually want to keep because that's awesome. However, the real issue sort of happens in the bush block, because that has the may place on method where, and this is the crazy thing about it, you can only place it on dirt and farmland. And this is what we want to, well, basically change in this case. Now, having, doing that fairly straightforward inside of our mod sapling class may place on, and then here we simply want to return a true if the block state right here is of the block state that we want. Now what we can do is very straightforwardly, we can actually say private final, let's do a supplier of a block just in case. The reason why we use a supplier here instead of a block itself is sometimes they might not be fully registered, whatever we're like pointing to, especially if we use our custom blocks. That's why using a supplier is just better in this case. We're just going to call this the block, and then adding this, of course, as a supplier of a block to the constructor over here. This is the block, and then this block is equal to the block parameter. And then what we can say is simply pstate.is, and then passing in block.get. And if this is the case, then we may place this on. And now our mod sapling over here should only be placeable on our custom block. And the great thing is that if we have, 20 different types of saplings, we can always just put in another block and they will be, well, different for each of the different saplings we're creating. Now, one more thing I believe that we have is this iPlantable, which is kind of an eyesore. Now, the reason why this is an eyesore is, if I recall correctly, if we were to double check over here, this has been an issue in previous versions at least. Let's see where this is used. This is used in the block over here and in the can sustain plant method, where if this is an iPlantable, then you still are able to basically put this down on dirt. However, it might actually have changed. We're going to see this in a second, whether or not it is the case. But let's go to the mod blocks class and our sapling over here. We'll change this to the mod sapling block. And at the end right here, of course, now we need to define whatever block it is as a supplier. So we're going to say supplier of blocks dot, and then let's say, for example, the endstone, right? In just this case, let's just do endstone. And this is not everywhere we need to change this, because we also need to change this in the configured feature. This is extremely important. Otherwise, well, we would be able to set down the block or the sapling onto endstone, but as soon as we grow it, the endstone turns into dirt, because that is handled by the tree configuration builder over here, and that is handled right here in the dirt provider. So this dirt over here, this is where we need to make a block state provider. Simple, that's going to be fine for blocks, and there's going to be endstone again, because in this case we want to basically say, hey, if you make this block or make this tree, the bottom block below it is going to be endstone. And with that, we have everything we're going to need. And here, of course, we need to rerun data gen for the configured feature to work. And with that done, well, then we can jump into the game and see if it works. Alright, friends, we're back in Minecraft, and let's just see if I put down the endstone right here. I can put the walnut sapling on there, and I can grow my custom tree. Absolutely fantastic. Now, one thing that I just mentioned before is that, well, the thing about it is that I can also still put it on grass, and if I grow it, you can see that then the grass turns into endstone. That's kind of interesting and kind of funny. Okay, however, when we actually override the get plant type method over here, we can make a custom plant type, which then, of course, well, I mean, this is then the custom plant type over here obviously isn't, well, being used in the can sustain plant method, meaning that we get a false, and then all of a sudden we can no longer place down the sapling onto dirt or grass. Absolutely fantastic. So that is really good. And we will actually be able to see this as well if you were to, let's say, TP away for, I don't even know, 30,000. We're going to TP away over here. And if we will then locate a plains biome where our tree should spawn, and what we should be able to find is that there are no trees spawning. Now, why is this the case? Well, obviously, because when we made the placed feature, we made it so that it can only spawn where the walnut sapling can survive, and because it can only survive on end zone here, that is why none of them are spawning. Absolutely fantastic, and that is actually a tree on a different block. Awesome. I genuinely don't know how long this has been the solution to the issue, but there you go. I mean, better late than never, and that's going to be a sapling doing exactly what it needs to do. Absolutely fantastic. But that's going to be it for this tutorial right here. Next time in this video, we'll talk about custom bush generation. Hope to see you there. So, yeah.